Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into the ideas of Khan Sir, an educator in India who has become this revolutionary force. His core belief is that the very systems meant to help people are actually designed to hold them back. And he's not just talking about it, he's decided to do something about it. So let's just jump right in with his most provocative claim. He argues that poverty in India isn't an accident. It's not just a lack of resources. No, he believes it's a system, one that's intentionally maintained because it serves a purpose. And that's the big question, isn't it? Who benefits? And more importantly, how do you fight back? We're going to explore Conser's diagnosis of what he calls manufactured poverty, and then get into his pretty radical plan to dismantle it, piece by piece. Okay, so here's the heart of his argument. Conser says that poverty is basically the fuel that makes the political engine run. Think about it. If you keep a huge part of the population just worried about their next meal, you create a dependent class, and that class is so much easier to manipulate when elections roll around. He uses this great little story to make his point. Imagine a lion running for election in the jungle, and his big promise is, vote for me and I'll become a vegetarian. Now, of course, that's absurd. It's an impossible promise. But if you're just trying to survive day to day, you don't really have the time or the energy to question it. Your focus is just elsewhere. He also makes this fascinating observation that individually, most people are good, you know? But when these divisive political narratives get pushed, they can become part of what he calls a bead, basically a mob. And once you're in that crowd, individual reason just sort of evaporates. People end up voting based on things like caste or religion, instead of the real issues that actually affect their lives. So you have to ask, how is a system like this kept in place? Well, according to Conser, the first major pillar holding it all up is a deeply, deeply broken education system. And this is where you see this crazy paradox. On one hand, you have government schools, where teachers are often paid pretty well, but the quality of education can be, well, pretty poor. On the other hand, you have private schools where the quality might be better, but the fees are just astronomical. So for the poor, it's a total trap with no good options. So what's his solution? To just smash the model completely? He offers high-quality coaching for hyper-competitive exams at a tiny fraction of the cost. The value is so extreme that one of his students pointed out that the tax on his competitors' fees is more than his entire course price. Just think about that. And the real-world impact of this is it's profound. This isn't some abstract theory. We're talking about creating a real, tangible path for someone like a young man who helps his father at a coconut stall, who literally cut his hand doing that work, to get into one of the country's best universities. That's a game changer. But his mission to break these systems, it doesn't stop with education. No, he's now tackling an even more critical life-or-death issue: healthcare. For Conser, this is a deep moral issue. He says it's just plain wrong when a family has to sell their land or their precious heirlooms just to afford medical care. Healthcare, he believes, is a fundamental right, not a privilege. Okay, let's talk numbers. Take an MRI scan. In a typical private hospital, this could be the cost. For so many families, that's not just an expense, it's a devastating, life-altering amount. Now, at his hospital, this is the price. And that dramatic drop has an unexpected and frankly life-saving consequence. With prices this low, an X-ray that costs less than the film it's printed on, an ECG for about a quarter, people sometimes get tests done almost as a joke. But get this, one man did an ECG just for fun and discovered he had 4 major heart blockages, a ticking time bomb he never would have known about otherwise. But what really drives him to take on these massive challenges isn't just theory. It all comes from his own, very personal experiences. He himself waited 4 years for a neck surgery he desperately needed, simply because he couldn't afford it. And when he finally got it done for a reasonable price, on the way home, his auto rickshaw was flipped over by 2 fighting bulls. You can't make this stuff up. That entire painful, absurd journey just cemented his belief that a better system had to be possible. He tells this other story about a woman from a village whose son was helped by a medicine that cost just 16 rupees. She was so grateful that she brought him a whole bunch of bananas, a gift worth more than the medicine itself. And this, he says, shows the immense heart and dignity of the people he's fighting for. And this brings us to his ultimate vision. Because this isn't just about affordable schools or hospitals. It's about a fundamental shift for the entire country.
He argues that the average person in India is bound by three heavy chains: the constant fear of medical bills, the relentless struggle for a good education, and the crippling social and financial pressure of dowry for their daughters. Their entire life can be spent just battling these worries.
His goal is captured perfectly in this analogy. A soldier can go to the front line and fight fearlessly because they know their family's basic needs are taken care of. Khanser wants to give that same freedom from fear to every single Indian. So this is the ultimate vision. What happens when you free an entire population from just surviving? They can finally start to think. They can innovate, they can create businesses, and they can truly contribute to building the nation instead of just trying to get through the day. And that is the powerful question he leaves us with. By breaking the chains of this manufactured poverty, he believes India's greatest resource, its people, can finally be unleashed upon the world.